All right, I'm excited to break down some Carson Beck tape, man. All I heard from last year was that this dude was not a good quarterback. Had one really bad game, ended up getting injured at the end of the year. If you know anything about his wide receiving situation, you know that it was not good. But to have like a 17% drop rate as a full unit, Aaron Smith is supposed to be the superstar. He is fast, but the dude couldn't catch anything. Dillon Bell struggled. A lot of those guys did. Dominic Lovett, you know, even a tight end, you know, Oscar Delp struggled at some time. But so this is what I like about this concept, kind of in a bunch formation here right before they get into the red zone. They've noticed a lot of blitzing happening. Usually these linebackers are going to come up and crash the gaps, right? The thing about Miami's offensive line is they're so good at setting the edge. You know, we try to look at offensive line, you know, play as far as the tackles as like being in the triangle formation here, right? And the quarterback wants to step up. He doesn't even have to worry about stepping up most of the time. And, you know, notice the hashes. In the NFL, they don't get as much space as these guys get here. So they're going to take advantage of that, especially when you're rushing pretty much your whole front seven, which is definitely going to open some play down the field. Now, this guy's going to kind of run a 9 route here. You're going to have a crossing route and the guy come up kind of running like a stick route combination, but going to try to take this guy out of play to free up these two routes. And it's just a beautiful play all around. What we're going to see, a lot of crashing happening here. The tackles take care of their job. This is one of the best offensive lines in the country. And notice the one thing about Miami's offensive play is their running backs love to block. Look at the extra help on the block here. Carson Beck's got all day to throw this ball. He actually has a couple options too. You know, right here over the field on this little drag route. But this should be open in most cases, and the thing that I like about this play is the position of the ball, where he placed it. Look, I say all the time, if you're able to overthrow your receivers, you save a lot of time for everybody and a lot of heartache for your offense, right? And what I mean by that is the sideline is always your friend. You want this throw to be as close to the sideline as possible. While if this guy's taking an outside release, you know you don't need to. The advantage for the defender is in the inside, obviously, and then you have the safety coming across the field. The best place to place this ball in case he crashes in is, of course, on his strongest side of the field near the pylon. Have your guy go out there and make a play. Throws the ball up. And obviously this is a miss, which, you know, he gets a couple of these back later on in the game. But just look how beautiful this was from not only the offensive line. You have a guy that's obviously open in green grass down here, but this is a lot to account for on when your offense is lined up on the left side hash. You have a bunch of guys crashing in, and you have a fast receiver that's trying to get separation here on the route. Yeah, we're going to take this concept all day and run with it. Let's watch it from the line view and see how beautiful this was. These guys are, you know, this bunch formation is pretty smart to run when you've had so many, and Notre Dame is known for this, right? We're going to stack the box. You guys been running the ball so well. We're not going to really worry about the underneath stuff, but this is where Carson Beck kills you. Look at his eyes as well. His eyes never let you know that he is even looking this direction from the beginning of the snap. Number 2 comes up, makes a really good block. The center comes up, gets 27. Now you have a free release over the middle of the field. And look, let's take a chance downfield. I got a nice matchup. Ball placement's really good. Little overthrown, but you get the idea. And attacking this stuff so early in the quarter, right? I believe this was, you know, the first quarter, about 7 minutes and 50 seconds into this quarter. And I continue to attack the deep stuff, and I love this from Carson Beck. And again, we got another play here where they're in a bunch formation in the middle of the field, throwing some gutsy stuff. But look, read your keys, man. Where's your mic? Notice who the hot guy is, right? There's a lot of indications here that these guys are going to be speed blitzing you and trying to get some success and rattle Carson Beck. Again, what do you have? Mesh concept this time. Middle of the field, open, right? And no, they don't run mesh. Confusing everybody, right? They actually run a couple China routes here. Bam, gets out, catches the ball in an empty space, utilizing the right side of the field. What a freaking play call here. Had everybody confused. You think that we're running mesh over the middle of the field. Yeah, you're gonna blitz us? Obviously in man coverage. Run 2 China routes and wait for your guy to get open. Carson Beck had a ton of choices here to throw to. 10 was open, he was open. You decide to throw a back shoulder, make some things happen here. Notice the first down marker. And of course, you kind of got a guy that's running an open concept over in the middle of the field too, that if he really wanted to get gutsy, this guy wasn't jumping for it, and number 8 was not going to get there in enough time to make anything happen. First down, great run after the play. This is just excellent stuff from not only the offensive coordinator standpoint, but the way that they're scheming this up for Carson Beck to get the ball out. I do like the creativeness of what Miami was doing here in this game. As far as like the concepts, right? They could have like a smash concept where they come up, have this guy run a corner, right? Just traditional smash. Except they're gonna have this guy run a comeback and he's gonna run a post instead. They're gonna have the tight end come up and work the middle of the field as well. But the reason why this is so smart and the more of an open concept here is they're, running 3 wide and 11 personnel. But what I like about this so much is they're keeping not the strong side, but the front side of the field for Carson Beck to make a good throw in the one-on-one matchup here by flooding one side of the field and threatening not only a short concept, a long concept to make the safety follow, and then also get this linebacker here to worry about the tight end stepping up and possibly getting this nickel to kind of cheat in once he figures out that, he has to follow this guy on the post route. But let's kind of watch this. The completion was here to number 7, who, had himself a day as well. So gonna get his offensive line straight. They're not showing any blitzing concepts outside of number 5 here on the edge, but they got a man advantage all the way across the board. And with a tight end and 11 personnel, obviously you got your running back here as well. So your running back's going to give you a little bit of, spacing. He could have came up and chipped somebody just in case they were in trouble. Setting the edges pretty well. Feels really comfortable, steps up. Could have hit his running back here, but wide receiver gets separation on this comeback, gets the ball. Yeah, was it a little on the outside? Yeah, but more importantly, this is so friendly from Carson Beck's standpoint to split the field in half and totally take care of a defensive front completely, especially, again, the question is, how are they going to deal with it when there wasn't an all-out blitz from this front 7 happening? And again, he's not worried. You have open space to run. You can make a guy miss. Your running back can kind of help you come up as you see he steps up. But now just get the ball out and get a completion downfield. All right, let's get through some decision making. 3rd and 8 here in the 3rd quarter. Crucial. Got to get you inside the end zone, right? More importantly, get you guys inside the red zone so it makes it easier on your kicker, just in case that you can't have anything happen. Look, that same route concept that we saw, that China route, is what's going to happen here as well. And Malachi is going to make another great catch on this play, number 10. And you see the route concept, bam. Now get to the out. Middle of the field open. And as you see, offensive line again blocking really, really well. And we have some guys that are trying to play off ball a little bit here, and the guard comes up and he follows his guy. This may be the best offensive line in the country that nobody talks about, but instead of taking the easy check down and having this safety meet him here, he lets the route develop where the wide receiver is actually picking up the safety here in this route concept, which is what this is designed to do, right? If you're going to run 2 China routes, you're going to want some of your biggest occupiers, occupants, not occupiers, occupants to be tied up by one of your receivers. Gets the ball outside, first down, don't have to worry about that. Gets a stiff arm, gets inside the 10. Beautiful play, beautiful decision. And these are not, I think the game is starting to slow. They're trying to get the game to slow down for Carson Beck and really show that he can run some pro style concepts. And this is really nice from Carson's aspect because he's able to process a little bit and understand that, every time that the blitz is not coming, I have to deal with a lot of zone concepts. How do you beat zone? You run concepts like this, China routes, to get these guys to step out and be occupied by other receivers running routes. And we're starting to get into the stuff that I really like. And sorry for showing so many incompletions, but I just think Miami could be a dangerous team with Carson Beck's arm talent here. And, with the formation that they're running, they're mixing a lot of things up. Look, we're going to get kind of like a Mills concept here where this guy's going to run tried to get out and run a corner, and this guy's going to run kind of like a 10-yard out here and see where things land. But look, guys picking him up, playing very, very physical, tries to get out here, and Carson Beck takes a lot of pressure on this play, which we're going to see, and it's an incompletion, but dang, this was excellent stuff that we talk about with Carson Beck's arm talent, right? See the little Mills concept here? Has a tight end that breaks out 3rd and 8. You know that this is not going to get the yards that you need. Obviously, this guy's going to pick him up with the pressure that they felt, which he didn't feel a ton of it, that got him in trouble. Look at the ball placement, even off his back foot. Incredible stuff here. Yeah, I think, and we're going to break down the touchdown here pretty soon, but this is what I'm talking about with Carson Beck. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring up the last play is just because this play from Carson Beck was so good. Look, we're going to get a concept where it's almost like a scissors concept. This guy's going to come up for a 9. This guy's going to come up for a 9. This guy's going to stay put and then try to get a 9 route up here. It's almost like a verts concept with a little bit of scissors, principles. But this is that CJ Daniels catch. Look, nice little pocket until the left tackle gets a little bit loose in his technique. Lets Carson Beck gets hit. And Carson Beck gets the pass up here. But notice a couple things, even outside of the pressure. Let's not focus on Carson Beck. Look at my man Malachi right here. Taking not only the corner with him, pulling the safety up. That little delayed route kept this corner back. And now the only person that you have to beat here in this concept, since you have the tight end occupying him, 2 guys occupied here. Of course, you have to beat the blitz. You're definitely not throwing it here at this point in time. Is to fit it somewhere in here, right? Good play by CJ Daniels. I think he gets most of the credit here. But this could have been an interception, or this is just trusting your wide receiver. And I think it went out probably a little further than he wanted it to because of the hit. But shout out to CJ Daniel for accounting for that. But again, the right idea on the pass for Carson Beck is to get that ball out and to get it as close in that spot inside that gap as possible. Look, Miami's going to be a problem if they let this guy continue on and be everything that he can be. Look, guys, this has been Dante with East Coast Grinner. Just had to break this down. Let me know what you guys think about Carson Beck's performance. I'm so looking forward to the rest of this season, guys. Have a good one.